Whoa!
I like
Bringing
that.
a little vibe there, Emma behind the Mac. Bringing a little energy to this late night post-game show of the All Utah Hockey Podcast. Special post-game because they got a win when Craig and I are talking about the team as the Utah Hockey Club defeats the Colorado Avalanche 4-1 in Denver. I'm Petey. That's Craig Morgan. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe to the All Utah Hockey YouTube channel. If you're catching up on this show on your podcast, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review. Big win for the Utah Hockey Club versus one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Certainly one of the top teams in this Central Division. Craig, initial thoughts of the big win of the Utah Hockey Club over the Colorado Avalanche.
Petey, there's a lot to like in that game. Let's start with the fact that they just didn't give Colorado much. By the way, we're going to be joined by a special guest who only identified himself as Angry AJ. He should be on with us shortly, but there really was a lot to like. I liked the way that Utah defended in this game against some world-class elite players. They just shut this team down tonight. You know, I for what it's worth, on natural stat trick, they had Colorado with 4 high danger chances in this game. Of course, that's just area of the ice, but I thought Utah outchanced them. This is a great road game. This is the script that you want to play in a road game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go right to Mishnish in the chat. LOL. AJ called it nonsense, and that's we were saying there yesterday. AJ was on the show yesterday, and he's just like, how do they do it? And he said, it's just nonsense. I tell you what, Craig said it from the Utah Hockey Club perspective. This was a very good road game. This wasn't a game that the goaltender stole, or this wasn't a game that, oh my God, Colorado just was just unable to score off the post and getting all these chances. It wasn't that game. All facets of what Utah wanted to do went well tonight. They had offense that showed up. They defended better than they have at times this season. Their penalty kill was perfect, and their goaltender was good, but it was all facets. They look, you know what, Craig? They looked fast. This is a team that looked fast, and they haven't looked fast often enough, but now it's starting to turn around. This point, this team's done 4 in a row, and they've got points in 7 of 8. Like it's impressive, like where this Utah Hockey Club is right now. Oh, excuse me, points in 4 straight and points in 7 of 8. I'm sorry, I got that overtime loss in there, but they're good. And I tell you what, they beat a Colorado team that's desperate for wins, that's holding on to the top wild card spot in this Central Division. And you know, we'll go through it. Just I want to do, Craig. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it quick. I promise. Well, if I can, I actually got it on the wrong screen, so I have to go somewhere else to do it. But it's just a 1-minute recap. The Utah Hockey Club gets out to a 1-0 lead halfway through the first period. Dylan Guenther deflects one off the Calgary. Good God, I can't do these things. Off the Colorado defender, giving the 1-0 lead. Kolya Chonuk in his first game in a long time, and he looks sharp, by the way. He gets the second goal again off another Colorado defender. 2-0 Utah. 3-0 Dylan Guenther. Unbelievable power play goal. And we're going to talk about that one a little later. The passing play that set that up to put the Utah Hockey Club up 3-0. Nathan MacKinnon scores, making it 3-1 on an empty net goal where they pulled the goaltender with the extra attacker. And Kevin Stenlund continuing his 4-game scoring streak with the empty netter, making this one 4-1 for the final. And those are your goal scores in tonight's matchup. Right before we bring in AJ, I want to get to the numbers in this one first, and then we'll bring AJ in after we look at the numbers. Emma, let's take like shots on goal. Even again, 23-23, and keeping the Colorado Avalanche under 25 is a feat and a task, and it was accomplished by the Utah Hockey Club. Shot attempts 66-45. Craig, you brought up block shots, but look at the block shots, Craig. Block shots, Utah 23, Colorado 10. That's impressive. Yeah. That's impressive. But what do we say about block shots, Craig?
We could say a lot of things about it.
You block shots when you don't have the puck. Like
Yeah, but I didn't think possession was necessarily an issue tonight. I thought guys were selling out. Listen, 66 shot attempts is not that doesn't concern me all
no,
that
it's not
much.
no. You get
It's
90, 100, then you got to
yeah,
start looking.
yeah. I liked the way they defended most of this night. And you mentioned Dylan Guenther. My God, he's got 12 goals now. I tweeted after his 11th goal that he's on pace for a 31 goal season as a 21-year-old in his first full NHL season. We've been saying this for a while about this kid. He's going to be a star. He's a great shooter. He just is a natural goal scorer. Maybe the best goal scorer in this franchise. I know it's new. It's
I
supposed to
know.
be new. I have to
Yes.
qualify this every time I say it, and it's getting annoying, but it's not really new. He might be the most pure goal scorer in this franchise's history since Keith Tkachuk. And that's
Well,
saying
his
something.
goal line, he got 2 goals and assists. He's +2. Just played just under 50 minutes of ice time. He had 7 shot attempts for Dylan Guenther. Outstanding night for Dylan Guenther for this kid. He played really well, and his mom in the stands on Mentor Week. Look at that. Everybody's in a better mood when you're on the road with your mom's, dad's, sisters, brothers. I think Mentor night
On that
makes it.
note, by the way, Petey, I texted
Yes.
Dylan's mom tonight and said, you have to go to every game now, obviously. And she says, done, check mark. So,
Sure.
so
Sure.
apparently Nadine Gunther will be at every game now.
So you're
There it is.
texting Dylan Guenther's mom during the game. That's a
Why not?
discussion for later. AJ, let's bring in AJ
Okay.
during that. AJ from the DNVR podcast. AJ is going to join us, and I know, unfortunately, I have to ride the other side of this wave on the Utah Hockey Show. AJ, thanks for staying up late because Craig and I wouldn't
Was it
do it.
worth it? Was it worth it, AJ, to stay up this late?
Dude, no. No.
Either
So-
word, no.
For the Utah fans, we're bringing in AJ just because one of the things you want to do is you want to you beat Colorado. So let's bring in AJ, and you get to see the sorrow a little bit firsthand. AJ, what do you think of the Colorado Avalanche's effort tonight?
I think had I slept through that game, I would have given the exact same amount of effort that they had tonight. So,
Wow.
I guess
All
in a
right.
word, it was just sleepy, man. It was sleepy.
Yeah, and it's tough because you look at it, they kind of hung Wedgie, and Wedgie's a old friend of the program here, Scott Wedgwood.
Yep.
They left him to dry a little bit. It was tough. He had a tough night, and you look at the first 2 goals going off legs and sticks of his own players. That's always a little bit more difficult for a goaltender. A little frustrating night, and Colorado just couldn't get their feet going. I think part of that was Utah's defending. I think they defended well tonight, but you never got that motor going. And I say this, AJ, when you get frustrated, you start doing it yourself. And you try to do it yourself. And I thought Colorado, by the third period, was really getting frustrated with this Utah club.
Yeah, I mean, I think the it's most emblematic of when the Avs get really stubborn when things don't go their way, and then they just decide. Mikko Rantanen especially is the guy that likes to do this a lot. He just decides, all right, enough with this. I got this. Everybody get out of
Yeah.
my way. I'm gonna go do it. And
And that's who I was
every
thinking
time
of
tonight,
specific.
exactly, because it was so. It's just he gets so like, all right, I'm gonna go do it myself, and then nothing happens, and you're like, cool, man. That was a really. I'm glad you decided to do that. That was a really worthwhile endeavor for everybody. And then the clock runs, and you're like, cool, this cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad we all got hyped over the last 2 days about how this team was finally back, and then
coming out of it.
the world's most predictable. Like, they've been in the East Coast for 10 days. They come home, they're flat. Great. If they're flat in 2 days against Nashville, I'm a lot more worried. But tonight, them being flat, predictable.
I think that's
But
a
I think
really good point. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
good point. Like we see this so often when teams come off long road trips, right? You often are flat in that first game back. And listen, Mackenzie Blackwood wasn't in goal either, so that may give them a boost down the road when he's playing. You're right. Probably not a point of concern for Colorado right now. Go ahead, Petey.
No, I was just thinking the same thing, but I think one of the things you have to talk about is Utah's speed tonight, and they were able to keep up with the Avalanche. I know that's not their. It's tough when you travel east to west. I get it. I know it is, but you're still going into the Ball Arena. You're playing in a tough environment. It's a game that you have to show up for. And I thought almost to a man, almost. And I'm not going to call out names today, Craig.
Uh-oh.
But almost to a man, this team, you saw the effort around this hockey club. And one of the guys I wanted to call out early was Michael Kessellring. He ends up with the assist early in this game, but his stat line, again, this is a kid offensively coming in off the blue line, D number 7. You watch him and how much he's improved at bringing that offensive spark, especially with Dursey out of the lineup. Kessellring ends up with 6 shot attempts tonight, 3 on net. He tied for the lead on this team with 3 shots on goal. He was impressive, and he continues to take strides offensively. Craig, any thoughts on the young Utah Hockey Club defenseman?
Well, it's about upside here, right? I don't think people thought much of this deal, even though they didn't give up anything when they made the trade deadline deal, and Nick Bjugstad ended up coming back from Edmonton anyway, so they essentially gave up nothing to get Michael Kessellring. He felt like a little bit of a throw-in, but our good buddy Jason Demers was telling us, don't sleep on this kid. He's coming. He's got a lot to give. And initially we thought he was going to be more of a defensive defenseman, but he's got an offensive upside to his game too. Yeah. He's getting opportunity with these guys out of the lineup. I'm really curious where it goes for Michael Kessellring. Can he be a second pair guy on this team? We'll see, but it's been pretty impressive to watch thus far.
I will say John Whitaker in the chat says, what a great game to see in person. So John Whitaker in the chat in Denver tonight at Ball Arena. AJ, do you miss it? Did you miss rolling around downtown Denver and rolling into Ball Arena to see this hockey club play?
No. It was genuinely no, like all jokes aside, there's a reason I moved out here. I needed a different change. I needed a different speed for my life. So I do not miss that.
The goaltending, though, Wedgie, I thought Wedgie was fine. I don't think it was elite tonight. He was fine. Is Mackenzie Blackwood the answer? We asked you this question literally yesterday. Is he the answer? Is that the spark that this team is waiting for right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am excited to see him in net. I think he has to be the answer, but with Wedgwood tonight, I mean, what do you say? Two of the goals against go off of his own guys. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, we're just talking. It's fine. Like, this is one of those games that Petey, you know this, man. You just shrug these things off. It's fine,
and you move on. Yep, it is. And you look where they are in the standings. They're still holding strong. We will talk about the standings a little bit later because there's some interesting stuff going on lower down on the standings than where Colorado is, AJ. But there's some stuff happening tonight. Somebody might have jumped over another team. We'll talk about that in a bit. The Veggie was good early, though. And I know Colorado had a little pitch early. McKinnon had a really good chance tight. Nichushkin had a really good chance in tight. And I thought Veggie set the tone in that first period. The shots in the first period to 9-7 Utah, and I thought it was a very evenly played first period. But again, Veggie comes out of that playing well, and that's all you need to do. You know what? It's the first time Colorado gave up the first goal in their last 5 games. So I thought that was a really good omen for the Utah Hockey Club. Craig, power play. Can we talk about that power play goal? Can we talk about the power play goal? Zip. Wow. Yeah. Nick Schmaltz, I'm so hard on Nick Schmaltz. I'm so hard on him. Like he doesn't shoot when he should shoot. And here, I swear, he gets the puck in the bumper on that power play that zips around right off the faceoff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, he's got to shoot there. Like in my head, I'm going, as I'm saying it, before I even he's got to shoot there out of my mouth. Maybe it was a pretty good pass because everybody in the building, everybody on the ice, including Scott Wedgwood, thought he was going to shoot that puck, dishes it off, and an unbelievable power play goal. So I will excuse Nick Schmaltz on that
one. Literally a wide open net. He had the entire net to shoot at on that. That was one of the easiest goals Dylan Guenther will ever score.
Yeah, I know. But AJ, have the Colorado Avalanche had penalty problems? Because the Utah Hockey Club absolutely has this season.
Not really in taking them so much as it is when they're trying to kill them. They frequently don't.
Yeah.
It's very pacifist level PK. So, it's tonight we saw 7 seconds.
That's pretty good.
7 seconds.
Pretty good, but their power play.
Yeah.
Power play was elite, and you look at their puck movement. Lehkonen rings one off the pipe on their power play. They get 3 other really good scoring chances. Vejmelka stops them. That's one where if they can score on the power play when they've had their power play opportunities tonight, I think it possibly could have shifted the momentum in this game. But Utah was I mean, Veggie was on the first penalty kill, but then I should have blocking shots. Like, buddy, this was like playoff hockey. They're trying to block shots. And I know for Colorado, it was game 28 or what is it? No, it was 31. Game 31, and they played like it was game 31. For Utah, they played like this was game 83. Like, this is playoff hockey time for them. And they dive in front of shots. It was a full team effort. And it was really impressive to watch. You saw those guys, Veggie, you got Ian Cole, Kerfoot. They're all diving around, making great saves, and they stopped a big goal on the 4-on-4. I'm getting winded here. Yeah, how much?
Yeah, I am a little stunned at what Utah's been able to do here without three defensemen. Without, we've been talking about Sean Dursey and John Marino being out of the lineup all season, but then you lose Maverick Lamoureux, and you're down to a bunch of veterans. Really, you've got a bunch of slower veterans in this lineup. I didn't think that this team would be able to engineer the sort of turnaround that we're seeing right now. 6-2-2 in their last 10 games, within 3 points of the Avalanche, by the way, for that wild card spot that we were talking about.
Let that sink in.
Sorry to bring that up just before bedtime, AJ, but I'm pretty surprised, and it's a good sign that this team has been able to pull it together. Petey, when you examine this 10-game streaks, the 6-2-2 that I mentioned, as a coach, what are the keys that you're seeing right now that have allowed them to turn this sort of corner? And again, it's only 10 games. I don't want to say this is a playoff team yet. I don't think either of us believe that they're quite ready for that step yet. But what are you seeing in this stretch despite the deficiencies on defense?
You know when it started, Craig? It started when they put the lines back together. It started when you put Hayton back with Schmaltz and Keller, and you put that Bukestad line together. And that's the one line I still think is trying to break out, but that you put Cooley back with Guenther and McBain. And I really thought that helped boost this team, and the morale got boosted. Goaltending's been great. And the team is only as good as their goaltending. Stauber's been, his numbers are fantastic. And Veggie's playing like he did 2 seasons ago. Offensively, it's about getting to the net. This team, there was a period of time when this team was losing games. They weren't getting to the net. They were getting no shots, tips, rebound, screens, and the defense were not getting involved. All of those things have compounded onto this team going, hey, they look pretty good right now. Now is our temper it. Bortuzzo gets hurt now. They've called up another defenseman. Kolyachonik jumps in, plays well. It jumps up in the play. This team is going to have to get healthy. I know we're going to talk about the playoff word a little bit, the P word, but they're going to have to get healthy if you're going to want to make a serious, legit push for a playoff spot here. Because I think you have to not just extend this and get points in 7 or 8. You got to get wins in 7 out of 8 if you want to get and gain the ground where you are on this Colorado Avalanche team. That's what I think. And I still think when AJ said yesterday, he said this Colorado Avalanche team won't be in a wild card spot for long. And I still believe him. And I don't think he meant that they're going to fall out of a playoff spot. I think he meant that they're going to accelerate and get into a playoff spot. And I believe that. And I don't think that they're a team that's going to be slipping out and competing with Utah for that last playoff spot. But
yeah,
AJ,
way too much talent on that team.
You agree, AJ? Like, it's coming. Like, this team is coming.
I want to see what they do when their defense is fully healthy. I actually like Utah quite a bit. I was pretty high on them coming into the season. But the defense as currently constructed isn't going to go anywhere. So it needs to get back to health. And you guys were talking about Kessellring earlier. For my money, he was their best defenseman tonight. I thought he was really, really good. Every time I watch him play, I think he's a really fun high event player. And high event guys, they'll stress a coach, but they're fun. They're fun to watch from my seat. And I've always really enjoyed watching him. So it's cool to see him come into his own the way that I think he is this year.
I will always talk about the way AJ delivers his message. First of all, he's honest, and he's always going to be honest. So if he says he likes a guy, he likes a guy. Like he's not throwing shade at somebody, and so that's impressive. And he just delivers that message like he's got that little grump in him tonight. I understand it, AJ.
Late out there, okay?
It's not because it's late; it's because they lost. Come on, AJ doesn't sleep.
I don't mind losses so much as I mind wasting my time. And it's 3 hours that I never get a chance to relive, and they don't either, and they didn't treat it that way, and I don't appreciate them making me sit through that.
Well, AJ, any final thoughts on this game before we kick you off and get to our ads?
No, I mean, I thought Utah was the better team. They deserved to win. They had some classic Coyotes nonsense that went their way to give them the 2-0 lead. That's how it goes. That's how this rivalry has always been. It's fine. I will sleep just fine pretty soon, actually.
And you know what, AJ? You brought up the great word, the R word, the rivalry. And this is how rivalries are born. Colorado beat this Utah team earlier in the season 5-1 at Delta Center, and now it's a 4-1 win for Utah in Denver. So the series is tied 1-1, and I think a rivalry has been born. So AJ, thanks for staying up late, AJ. We appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate it. You're a fun guy to talk to, and you know your hockey. So we'll be back next time this matchup comes up, or maybe sooner. We might just throw you a discussion to talk about other teams, because you know a lot about a lot. So thanks for jumping on. Look at that. Follow AJ on Twitter for sure. It was on
do
our
that.
chat.
I'm a terrible follow. You should definitely do that.
Yeah, you're a good follow. The return of AJ, way out there in Connecticut, following that Colorado Avalanche Hockey Club, and a frequent. I don't know. You're not a guest. You're a freaking host. You're a freaking analyst. Analyst? I'm going to go analyst. DNVR.
Person.
Check out all the stuff. Person. You're a person. You're a person at DNVR. AJ, thanks for taking the time. Thanks for staying up late. Go get some sleep, and we will absolutely talk to you really soon. Thanks, AJ. Before we talk more about this game, I'm going to talk about our newest partner, Verizon. It is the season to switch to Verizon. That's right. Right now, you can get a $200 Verizon gift card when you switch and purchase a select phone on select unlimited plans. So start the holiday off right with a great network, and use that gift card to start checking off other great tech gifts on your list, like smartwatches, tablets, headphones, and so much more. Also be on the lookout for very soon for that ticket giveaway to Utah Hockey Club games at the Delta Center, courtesy of Verizon for this holiday season. Switch now and get $200 off gift card only at Verizon. $200 Verizon e-gift card sent within 8 weeks. Requires device payment purchase. Minimum retail purchase of $99.99 and poured in with new smartphone line on postpaid unlimited plus or unlimited ultimate plan required. And then Rugged Road. I know. My son just got another new phone on his Verizon plan, so we're all Verizon people here. On Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers to demand the very best. And in Utah, I just feel like that is adventurers. That's what they do. I know in Arizona it was hikers. Utah is adventurers. Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. Rugged Road coolers are their ability to float upright so you never lose a drink. Rugged Road coolers are incredibly light, making them easy to transport on any trip without compromising on performance. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating. These coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor and sports enthusiast. So gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use the code ALLCITY for 10% off. Craig, couple of big.
I'm going to take exception to the rivalry thing.
You do.
Rivalries are built in the playoffs. Rivalries are built in the playoffs, and you had a front row seat to when this rivalry occurred in the bubble. How'd that go?
Wait, I will say this for those that don't know. I did work for the former Arizona Coyotes franchise, and my last games that I ever worked were in the bubble in 2020 against the Colorado Avalanche, and they did not go well. There was a couple of 7-2 losses in there before I ended my career and started doing this for a living. So yeah, I don't mind seeing them lose a couple of games. So whatever the iteration is, a couple of point streaks kept alive tonight. Stenlund hit a 3-game goal streak. Right? Is now 4. Kevin Stenlund does it all. And the other point streak kept alive today. Guenther had a 3-game point streak, and he is now at 4 games as well. So 2 big point streaks kept alive. In
Kevin Stenlund is a guy that when I wrote about him, I remember the coaching staff talking about thinking he had more to give from an offensive standpoint because he has such a good shot. Now, like tonight, it's an empty net goal, right? Although where he took it from, I was like, okay, yep. It's one of those where the coach is like, wait. Oh, that's a great play. But he has, you heard AJ say it yesterday on the show with all that he brings to the table with winning faceoffs, being a defensive center, having won the cup with Florida last season. he brings a lot to the table. If he can add any kind of offense from that fourth line position, oof, that's a valuable player for you to have.
He's a guy we talk about all the time about players playing in the right position to help a team win. And can you win with this guy? You can win with Kevin Stenlund because Florida did win with him. He understands his role. He competes incredibly hard, defends incredibly well, really good in the face-off circle, kills penalties, and now he's adding offense. And one of the fears Utah hockey fans you're going to have to get used to is when your team's not in the playoffs, you have to worry about losing players. And this is a guy that can play anywhere in the National Hockey League that any team would love to have as you're getting ready for a long playoff run.
So that is the truth. We don't want to bring that up yet. The March 7th trade deadline is a long way away, and right now, this team is on the climb. This team is on the climb, Petey. They are right now trending toward playing meaningful games, and that's good. You want to keep this up. Obviously, there's a long way to go until the trade deadline, but again, we keep saying this over and over again, but that's the goal this season, right? You want to be in it. You want to be in the mix coming out of the Four Nations face-off break, which is a mouthful to say.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that, Craig. Let's talk about the standings a little bit today. So Utah, with their win, they're now sitting at 31 points in the Western Conference. The St. Louis Blues are sitting at 30 because they lost today to the San Jose Sharks. So Utah has officially jumped over one of the teams they needed to jump over to get into a playoff spot. I always said it was the hardest to jump over teams. Don't worry about the points. Worry about the teams in front of you. They need to jump 4 teams to get in, and they just jumped 1 today. So now it's jumping over 3. They can jump over another one later tonight. Seattle's hanging on again against Boston right now, 3-1. So it looks like they're headed to a win at home. So that Utah will still be behind Seattle. But Calgary sitting at 33, Vancouver at 33, Colorado at 34, and Utah now at 31. So they're just a couple of points out.
Calgary got boat raced tonight, by the way, by the Lightning. Lost 8-3. So
I know you don't listen to the show that we do in Arizona on Arizona Hockey Show, but I did call Calgary falling out of the playoffs. I said that was too much too soon. So Utah, there was that part. There was a part in that you go through that little stretch where you go, oh, this team's in trouble. Points in 7 of 8. You continually do that from now for the next several months. We said it, Craig, over and over and over again. Bill Armstrong said it. This team's not ready for the playoffs. If they play like this, and they can play fast like this with good goaltending, kill penalties, and most important of all of this, get healthy. If they can ride the wave and stay relevant, even where they're at now, even you're in the 5th wildcard spot right now. Even if you're there, and Jersey and Marino can return, and you're in the 5th wildcard spot, that can be enough to give you a boost to pick up another 3 points. It can, and I think that I'm surprised that they really have dug in and turned this thing around. I really am. So all that talk we heard about where is Turney's job safe, I think we can say everything.
Yeah, I never believed that anyway. But with this blue line, I didn't expect this. We also talked about are they strong enough up the middle? I still think that's a question mark for this franchise that needs to be addressed. But if you get both of those guys back at some point, Petey, say you are still in the playoff mix come the trade deadline, what are you doing if you're Bill Armstrong? Are you just standing pat at that point because you don't necessarily want to sell off assets for a pointless playoff push at this stage of the rebuild? You're probably not selling because you don't want to send that message to your room if you're within a few points of a playoff spot and you're getting these defensemen back. So what's the plan? Is it just stand pat, see what these guys can add, and let's ride it out?
It's really hard. First, I want to say hi to Christina. Christina Pretty's in the chat. I just want to say hi, Christina. But you're right. This is going to be a difficult decision for Bill Armstrong and his staff. Really difficult because we talked about one of the most valuable players right now. We talked about Kevin Stenlund, but Kevin Stenlund's the guy that helps this team. The other player I've talked about on this show is Karel Vejmelka, and I do think there's going to become a point where he is you're going to see his name come up more often in trades because people, believe it or not, people just don't know him. Like he just doesn't have that resume. He's not nationally known. I think his numbers are starting to talk for himself. And I think he's the guy that's going to come up name-wise at the trade deadline. So what do you do? He's only 27, 28 years old. The goalie's got a lot. He's got a lot of good miles left in him. And then you get rid of him. Now what? So I think, Craig, the trade deadline is going to be incredibly interesting. I do not think, we know Bill Armstrong very well and what his mindset is. He will never give up long-term gains for short-term successes. It's not what his moves have been about.
Unless he's ready to win a cup.
Right. Oh, 1,000%. Funny because you mentioned that. I've had a conversation with him about the St. Louis Blues and a move they had to make to win the cup. They had to trade Tage Thompson. And you see how Tage Thompson is playing right now. Believe me, the St. Louis Blues would love to have Tage Thompson right now. But to trade Tage Thompson, they get Ryan O'Reilly. And guess what? You win a Stanley Cup. You trade everything to win now, to win a Stanley Cup. If you can put your name on the cup, all of that's worth it. All of it. Bill Armstrong's not ready to do that right now. And he's not ready to trade that. He wants to get this team to be a perennial playoff team. And I will say this, for fans that have followed this team year after year after year, this was the first time over this last week where I could say this team is playing fast. They looked fast. They were on pucks quick. They were winning foot races. They were winning puck battles. They were getting to the net quick. And when this team plays fast, they not only could be exciting to watch, but they can win hockey games. And they're beating some good teams right now.
Yeah. Again, the thing that stood out for me tonight, though, was just how well they defended a really skilled offensive team. They suffocated them, Petey. Listen, maybe AJ is right. Maybe some of that is just Colorado was flat, but I don't think you can take away what the Utah Hockey Club did to them tonight. They just defended very well, and we've been frequent critics about how this team defends in the past, especially in their own zone, not necessarily through the neutral zone, but they were really good, and that's been a recent trend. We were talking about this against Minnesota. They had the high shot volume, but when you looked at the chances that the Wild had, there just weren't many. If you can do that, if you can keep teams, to the outside or to those lower danger areas, even if you're giving up shot volume, who cares? Your goalie's got to make those saves. And right now, as you mentioned earlier, the second half of the equation here, they're getting really strong goaltending from both of their guys. And when you put those two things together, you have a chance at a lot of success in this league.
Well, it's funny you said that, because when you look at 5 of their last 6 games, 5 of their last 6, they've given up 2 or less goals a game. If you can do that, you win hockey games in the National Hockey League. If 2 is the magic number. If you can keep it to 2 or less, you win games. It's just the way it is. Goals against averages are just under 3. So that means, if you keep them under 2, you've got a really good chance to win. And that's what this team was struggling to do in that middle portion of the season. And they weren't scoring goals. You look at their last 4 again tonight. That's 4, 8, 12, 17 goals in their last 4 games. This team is producing offense with good goaltending. So it is very impressive. Gosh, I wish I could see better, Craig. Hey, it's Finnell. Hey, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but Cooley's game has been awesome, fast, and physical. I will say this. The kid is as advertised. I'm still waiting for some of those highlight reel goals, but right now it's his highlight reels getting to the net.
Yeah.
That goal, Guenther's first goal, we all thought was Cooley's. Like I did. Like Cooley drives the net, puck goes in. I thought Cooley, great net drive. He is getting to the net. Off the power play, just misses one. Another backdoor play. I think Logan Cooley's playing exceptionally well right now.
I would agree with that. And again, I hate to keep coming back to Dylan Guenther, but what's the upside for him, Petey? He's 21 years old, and he's on track right now. And listen, the NHL schedule, as we know, gets tougher every 10 game segments or so. It'll get tougher after the All-Star break. It'll get tougher around playoff time. But he looks like a 30 goal scorer right now, maybe even more than that. He's 21 years old, Petey. He's 21 years old. I wrote about this long ago when they got him. This, to me, was the trade that jump-started the rebuild for this franchise. Getting Dylan Guenther and getting out from under Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Yeah, this was the one that got it going, and Dylan Guenther he's not doing anything to dissuade me from that opinion. He looks like an elite goal scorer. You love having these guys on your team. You love watching these guys as a fan. These are the kinds of players that put people in the seats. Dylan Guenther is him.
Super Finn says the Gunner Cooley combo will be the Stockton and Malone hockey for Utah. Jason says Cooley will be the best player in the team and an all-star in 2 to 3 more seasons. You heard it here first. I will say this, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, and people can continue to either agree or disagree with me. I say Cooley and Guenther are the Utah Hockey Club's Kane and Taves. I've said it before. You've got a calm, cool, collected guy that's a great leader that plays a 200-foot game that you really lean on, and that's Dylan Guenther. And then you've got the flashy guy that can get you that great play, make that great pass. You got the little bit of jam, a little bit of offense, and that's Logan Cooley. And that's the Kane and Taves comparison. And if they are that for this team, and you see them continue to excel and grow, and the bar is set so high for them, and you hold on to a player like Clayton Keller. I mean, you get so excited about the future, and I hate doing this. You get so excited. It's not there yet. I know it's not there yet, Craig.
That's quite a comparison. As a Chicago guy who watched those guys come up, that's quite a comparison, because those guys were next level and carried them to a cup. Because if that happens, or anything close to that happens, look out. Look out.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I do temper it with maybe not the complete skill and toolkit that those two players had, but the comparison of the flashy guy that brings the offense with the stoic 200-foot player that can do a little bit of everything extremely well but works hard. I think that comparison definitely equates, but there are no replacements to Kane and Taves. I'm sorry, I know. I just get a little bit ahead of myself. That's kind of what I do here. Get a little bit excited. That was good. Again, you want to be excited about players like this. And we club and Daniel Booth. We'll wait and have to ask him when he gets here. But Daniel Booth, imagine another big, strong forward that can skate and can add offense. And these are all the things that Utah fans, good win tonight. No two ways about it. Good goaltending. Power play was good. Penalty kill was good. Offense was there. Every box was checked. They did a great job. I wish they didn't take the 4-minute penalty, but that was an accidental high stick. The point is, they did everything right. Huge win. But when you can do this night after night after night, and you start being what Colorado has been in the past, and you do it night after night, year after year, boy, it's going to be just a fun ride. And you can see it. It's getting so close, Craig.
I have such confidence in this team's blue line, the prospect system, all the guys, and please go read my prospect report, by the way, because
we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, go. I have a lot of faith in their blue line and the players they have coming up, and now that they have Mikhail Sergachev, it doesn't feel like, okay, who's going to be that guy? Who's going to be the anchor to this blue line anymore? They've got so many pieces coming. This is going to be a strong blue line. They're in love with their goaltending prospects. They're not here. They're not going to be here next year or even the year after that. So hold off on that. And that's another reason to think about hanging on to Karel Vejmelka, signing him to a contract extension. Don't trade him, because, like you said, who are you going to replace him with? You're in trouble if you ship him out. But I like that. To me, this all comes down. You mentioned Daniil Booth. We see some of the players they have in the lineup. Go get one more center, top 6 center. And I'm really thinking about, this team has some really, really interesting potential.
Well, before we go and take our next break, I got another chat from Christina Pretty, our big friend. Joel is still keeping his eye on our guys in the KHL. I got to give it to Joel. Joel, but dude's dialed into the KHL. I can't do it. I can't do it. So Joel, we appreciate that for the scouting reports on all of the Utah Hockey Club's prospects over in the KHL. And Craig, before we talk a little bit more about what's coming up next on the schedule and what the road ahead looks like for the Utah Hockey Club, I want to talk a little bit more about the holiday season and Saturday Neon. Started by 2 college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new essential collection. 50 of the biggest schools across the country for only $75. Yes, and they do even have Utah Ute signs. Unlike traditional neon, these signs won't break or shatter, but they still give you that unique uniform glow that you know and love. LEDs last 100,000 hours. Enjoy your sign for years to come. Super easy to install with the provided hardware, or as easy as 3M command strip. They're low voltage, they don't get hot, they're safe to the touch, and they're the perfect gift for the upcoming holiday season for that sports fan on your list. Use code ALLCITY for 10% off your orders at SaturdayNeon.com. And then, if you haven't, I don't know who hasn't listened to What Chaos yet, because we talk about it every show. The What Chaos, the All-City Hockey Podcast, hosted by Pete Blackburn and DJ Bean. It's mostly hockey with a little bit of nonsense, and I tell you, they take you around the entire league from your favorite team to your least favorite team and every team in between. They're live 4 times a week at 12 Eastern U.S. time on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to check out their new merch collection. And it is, I will say, I've got some on the way for Christmas time. They just dropped. It's partnership with Just Dishin'. Shirts, hoodies, hats, and accessories. Visit justdishin.com and check out What Chaos.
Petey, I feel like we're remiss. We should have had the What Chaos guys on right after they visited Utah to get their top takeaways from Utah. We should probably do that at some point and get them as guests on the show.
Well, let's do it next week. Oh, well, maybe right. Not next week. Maybe the week after. I got some sad news.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about next Wednesday show. We'll talk about that later. This is very sad news. But
sure.
But you're right. I would love to get their take because they definitely have. They wouldn't be up this late though. Maybe they would be.
They might actually. Those two. I mean, they did do a 24-hour show, so they're capable of that.
Cole Bedoin. Wait, I love Craig's prospect point. And We Clubbin said Cole Bedoin. I'm trying to keep up with everything. We Clubbin, have we figured out how to say his name yet? How do we say Cole Bedoin? Baudouin?
I mean, if I'm saying it in French, it's Baudouin.
It's Baudouin.
I'm going to add Cole because, I'll do a story on Cole at some point here.
Cole Baudouin.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, Cole Baudouin. Another guitar ad read. We're not ready for that yet.
Although I had to talk about Gregor Bieber first, who is not related to Justin.
Gregor Bieber. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we've talked about this little streak that this team has been on, and they've played some very good hockey teams during this streak, and Colorado was one of them. And you look at the 2 wins they got on the road were big. They've got another road win. This is 3 consecutive wins on the road. You add Vegas in the week before, that's 4 road wins. You go back to Montreal, that's 5 consecutive road wins.
9-6-2 on the road overall.
Next up, the San Jose Sharks. And be careful. They're sneaky because the Sharks just beat St. Louis today. So they're heading to St. Louis. They're going to San Jose on Saturday with the last year's #1 draft pick, Macklin Celebrini, and then they get a little bit of time off. And I think that time off is going to be incredibly important for this hockey team, not just for health, but they need to be at their best because they've got another tough schedule coming up. You've got Vancouver and Minnesota coming up, 1 at home, and then they're back on the road for a single game. 1 single game to Minnesota. Why couldn't they play that on their way back from Philadelphia? Play the Minnesota game. You're on your way from just stop in Minnesota, play the game. Oh, their travel schedule is horrific. Poor guys. So they get a few days off after the San Jose game, and I know their mentors will be continuing on to that. And you talk about that mentor bump. Craig, do you have any belief in having your mom, dad, brother, sister in the stands? Do you think it gives you a boost?
Well, it depends on your relationship with your mom, doesn't it?
Right. I don't know. I guess.
Hard driving mom who expects a lot out of you. I'm not saying that's Dylan Guenther because I have spoken to Dylan Guenther's parents many times. They're 2 of the nicest people in the world. But yeah, I mean, you could have that really hard driving mom. You better perform when she shows up. But listen, I love this trend in the National Hockey League more than anything. I love having.
I do too.
These trips, or when you bring the parents in, or it's extending beyond that now. They're coming up with creative ways, but yeah, I love it. It's just a cool. It's so NHL, isn't it? It's so homey. It's so family oriented. That to me that just screams NHL.
Yeah, and I want to say one thing, and I want to take my hat off to Ryan Smith, SEG Group, because this is something that this franchise didn't do often enough prior to this. I know the last few years they did. I can't speak for the last few years, but it was a very long time in coming, and it was a very difficult challenge to make. This isn't cheap. It's not free to make an event like this happen. It takes a lot of hard work, and give it to Ryan Smith to make this happen and pull it off and do it the right way. So I know these families, you saw them interviewed in the game tonight. You saw them wearing the jerseys. They're having a good time. And I will say this, by the way, you have a choice, at least when I've been around these kind of events, that the players can share the room with their dads if they want, but don't. Just don't, because dads on the road have a little different sleep schedule and mission. Do we remember? Was it Jordan Martinook? The dad.
Yeah,
So
Marty.
I believe
Marty
this, and
Martin.
I'm telling the wrong story. I apologize to the player. Jordan Martin, who now plays with the Carolina Hurricanes, was a former Arizona Coyote, dad on a trip. Might have had a few cocktails, went to bed. Everything is fine. Goes up to use the restroom in a hotel. Not used to sleeping in hotels. He's the dad. He stays at home. So he went to the door, opens the door, goes out. He was in the hallway in his underwear, not in the bathroom. He locked himself out of the room. Had a
Oh,
pound
yeah.
on the door to wake up his son before a game the next day.
You know, you
So don't
mentioned
sue your dads.
you mentioned how the previous franchise didn't do this very much, Petey. There was a simple reason for that. It was just, you had to decide whether you wanted to pay for the mom's or dad's trip or pay for the hotel room. So you couldn't do both. Oh, if you know, you know. Ouch.
Bing, bing, bing. Yeah, too soon.
Okay.
Too soon.
Too soon.
No, so we've got the upcoming schedule. I want to go through this again because I think this is a really important win for this team. I think this is a big marquee win on the road against a really good team. I know Colorado's coming back from a road trip. And to AJ's point, I know their first two goals bang off legs and go in. I understand that they hit a few posts on Vejmelka and he made some great saves. But at the end of the day, the Utah Hockey Club found a way to win this game. And I think what you need to do is when you find your hockey club finding ways to win games, I think that's very important. I think it's very important and part of the process that this team in the past, Craig, they found ways to lose. And tonight they found a way to win. So I think this is an important game as they continue to progress in a team because what you're seeing and the way they won this game is guys blocking shots, guys
Yeah.
guys doing it for each other. And when you play like that, like a team, and you get that positive vibe going in a room, man, it is definitely contagious.
That's the thing too. Like we can talk about the two bank shots off defensemen for goals. Yes, that's fortunate. But I felt like if that didn't happen, Utah could have won this game 1-0 or 2-1. They were playing that well defensively. Colorado just wasn't getting anything. So don't take that away from the Utah Hockey Club just because they got a couple lucky goals. They played very well in their own zone tonight and through the neutral zone tonight. They really did a good job of bottling up an incredibly talented offensive team. So kudos to them. It's been fun to watch. It's been surprising to watch, but they are on a heater right now.
Yeah, and you see Ole Mata with 3 shots on goal, Kessellring with 3, Dylan Guenther with 3, and Kevin Stenlund with 3 led the way in shots on goal. We talked about Vejmelka a lot today, but let's finish this up with Dylan Guenther getting his 11th and 12th goal of the season, leading the way for this Utah Hockey Club. Kevin Stenlund with his 5th of the year, 4th goal in as many games. And Vladislav Kolyachonok, who has not seen much ice time, jumped into the lineup, performed extremely well tonight, offensively and defensively, brought a little bit of speed to this game. He was fun to watch. He got his 2nd goal of the season. The shots, even in this one, 23-23, Utah comes away with a 4-1 empty net win before heading off to San Jose. Craig, any final thoughts before we say goodnight and head to bed?
I just want to see if they can keep it rolling. We talk about consistency all the time in this league, right, Petey? The need to support these efforts consistently. This has been a nice run for them where they have been showing some really good signs consistently. But as we know, with the NHL season, it gets tougher and tougher the longer you go. Teams will dial it in. They'll get more focused on the postseason and what they need to accomplish. They'll get to know each other. They'll understand what they're trying to do. Teams just get better and better over the course of the season. Can Utah keep pace with that? That would be a really good sign. Again, I keep saying it, but if they are in it at the break, that's fantastic news for the future of this hockey club.
Agreed. Hey, it said send pucks to the net. Good things happen. SZ said gutsy, greasy wins are a good sign. And I couldn't agree more. This Utah Hockey Club is on fire right now with points in 7 of their last 8 games. Please, please hit that like button. Get Craig's written content, including his latest prospect report on ALLCITYNetwork.com. And check out his long-form piece on Jackson Stauber, who we hope to see in the nets again real soon, although we might not with the way Veggie's playing and they got a little bit of a break coming up. Follow all of us on Twitter. Follow the show at @all_Utah Hockey. Follow Craig at Craig S. Morgan. Follow AJ at Return of AJ. Follow me at S. Peters Hockey. please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our video content, not just our shows, but some of the supplemental content that you find that we put out that you will miss unless you subscribe to All Utah Hockey on our YouTube channel. Listen to wherever you get your podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. For Craig and Emma behind the Mac, I'm Petey, and we will see you next Wednesday.
We all silly like the mayor.